The future is a terrifying place, be it 50 years or 500, we have no idea. Even though you're a superhero, these time heists are still quite challenging. Guys, welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. I'm your host, Taylor McWaters. Put on those tinfoil hats because here are the top 10 most powerful futuristic DC Comics superheroes. Let's get trippy. Kicking off the list at number 10, Superwoman. For this week, we'll be taking a look at Kristen Wells' Superwoman. She first appeared in DC Comics Presents Annual number 2. Now, she's from the 29th century. Kristen was a history student who traveled back in time to discover the origins of Miracle Monday, a universal holiday. She was quite committed to the craft, and it didn't take long for her to become Professor Wells. Her next field trip was a little more intense. Now she traveled to the 20th century to discover the secret identity of Superwoman, only to find out it was her the whole time. See, this Superwoman version of her took future tech, traveled back in time, and then saved the day alongside Superman at some point. Then she helped him take down King Cosmos. It was a pretty big deal. And then Wells traveled back to the future to tell the people the secret identity. It's kind of confusing in the brain. And they're all pretty shocked, but they're thrilled nonetheless. They gather and they celebrate Kristen's accomplishments that technically haven't happened yet in their timeline. What an odd party. Hey Kristen, great job. She's like, thanks, it was hard. Number 9, Rip Hunter. Making his first appearance in Booster Gold issue 13, Hunter is a guardian of the time stream and leader of the Time Masters. Not bad on the resume. Rightfully so. I mean, right from the start, this guy was preparing for enemies a time traveler would face. He was worried somebody would go back in time and prevent him from being born, so he got ahead of the game, or behind it rather, and then he hid the details of his birth from the public. I have to include Rip Hunter because we mentioned Booster Gold in our last futuristic hero list. Rip Hunter is the son of Booster Gold, but not even Booster knows that, so no one tell him, no one text him. Hunter has seen many days being a time traveler, of course. He was one that witnessed the birth of the new multiverse, and he played a major role in the defeat of Mr. Mind. He of course is a genius when it comes to temporal machines, but when you have literally all that time on your hands, you have time to kill and therefore time to train. Rip Hunter killed time by studying martial arts from BC to the end of time. So you don't want to mess with him in any timeline or else you'll get choked out in some era's version of Taekwondo, you know? Guys, before we continue on with this list, you know the drills, nerds. If you want to go ahead and give that video a thumbs up, it really helps us out here a bit. You're the best, thank you so much. Let's get right back to this list. You know, quick little intermission. Number 8, Adam Strange. Adam Strange was once a normal dude. He was an archaeologist working in South America when all of a sudden he was transported to the planet of Ron. The Zeta Beam signed him out of work early that day. You always want it to happen. You're like, come on Zeta Beam, I'm tired. The leader of Ron, Sardath, teleported Adam there, and then Strange didn't waste any time. He got a flight pack, he got a ray gun, the whole Mandalorian package. He was on board. The Radians and him got along famously. It was pretty good so far. He even charmed Sardath's daughter over there, and they eventually fell in love. Now the beam effect wore off, so he did eventually return to Earth, but after predicting where the next Zeta Beam would hit, Adam scheduled those trips, those archaeological trips, around that location. He needed to marry Alana, so he has to check in with the fam. I get it. Now it turns out this beam wasn't too leisurely, it had purpose. Radians were becoming more and more sterile, so this beam was actually searching for a suitable mate on all these planets. So Adam met the Justice League after assisting in a battle with Kanjiro, but when he was offered membership, he declined it, because he was too committed with the Radians. The jetpack and the ray gun, I mean, he's obviously busy, he's shooting things, flying around, he's got his hands full, literally. Number 7, Kaleb. Kaleb of Hedros made his first appearance in Superman the Man of Steel Annual, issue 5. He's from the Legends of the Dead Earth crossover, when Lex Luthor XL activated Krypton Protocol. Now at this point, Lex was the leader of the Galactic Empire, some Star Wars level villain stuff here. His goal was to destroy every planet that met the specifications for a Superman to be born. So basically, if a planet showed potential, if it had a yellow star, his solution was just to Dr. Evil laser beam the planet into extinction, and then nothing will happen. Not a bad plan. I mean, it's kind of brutal, but I guess it would work. So his target was this planet, Hedros. Now, thankfully, brave rebels also exist in this universe, so they snuck onto the planet and saved the last remaining inhabitant, Kaleb. So once he got off this doomed planet, as Lex predicted, he became the Man of Steel. Number 6, Wave Rider. Matthew Ryder made his first appearance in Armageddon 2001. He's a time traveler who comes from a dark future. I love old comics when they talk about the future because the year that Matthew came from is only 9 years away from today. Yeah, he's from the year 2030. Will there be flying cars, hoverboards, Avatar 2? Nope, it's actually going to be ruled by Monarch. Spoiler alert, it's pretty bad. At this point in time, he's wiped out most of Earth's heroes. It's not looking too helpful, so Matthew was rescued during this madness by a hero named Bennett Dilly. Matthew volunteered himself to travel back in time and hopes to figure out what turned Monarch evil. Now the past year's subjects never made it, but Matt Rayner did. Thank God. Now, not only that, when he entered the time stream, he was transformed into Wave Rider. So now he's able to surf through time whenever he feels like it. The classic go back in time but get powers during the commute. Awesome, we love it. He's also the king of spoilers, because his new powers allow him now to see into somebody's probable future by merging with them. Imagine bumping into this guy and you're like, oh, sorry. He's like, hey, no worries, good luck on your pilot test. They're like, what? He eventually joined the Linear Men and helped Superman quite a bit when Doomsday returned the first time. He offered details on Doomsday's origin, and he took Doomsday to the end of time, which sounds permanent, but Brainiac was still able to revive Doomsday. But we love the effort. Wave Rider is great, ladies and gentlemen, just don't binge watch any shows with him. He'll spoil the last season before it's even filmed. Number 5, Bart Allen. Making his first full appearance in The Flash Volume 2, Issue 92, Bart Allen was the grandson of Barry Allen, and his father was Don Allen, and his mother was Melanie Thawne, descendant of Flash villains Cobalt Blue and Professor Zoom. Now, Bart was of course born with his grandfather's gift of, traveling at light speed, but he also aged at hyperspeed too, which is concerning. When he was only 2 years old, his body was already at age 12. President Thawne had the Dominators abduct Bart so they could do experiments and all that evil stuff, but they ended up creating a clone of Bart called Inertia. Now, Bart was of course going to die earlier than most people because of his aging problem, so Iris West took him to the 20th century to the third Flash, Wally West, so he could teach Bart how to control his speed and, not perish and still stay alive. Bart came back later as Impulse and was one of the founding members of Young Justice. Number 4, Calculha. Also known as the Ancient One, Calculha was originally around in comics for a year, starting with Warlord issue 5. Calculha was the Atlantean god of light and was considered one of the most powerful mages in ancient Atlantis history. Being a follower of the Lords of Order and being born before creation itself, Calculha and Dark Magistra had some powerful offspring, Orion and Garn Danuth. Now, Orion was a demigod, and Garn Danuth grew up to become an agent of Order. All this power running through the family tree, but where did it come from? Calculha came from Darkworld. He was a protector of the creator of said realm. Kind of a big deal. Now, it didn't take long for him to become a sorcerer king, and then he liberated Atlantis, and before you know it, him and his wife Magistra and 10 other mages created the Zodiac Crystals, which are basically these statues that were patterned after all the Zodiac signs. So if you're into crystals, there you go. This cult couple didn't last too long because Magistra unfortunately joined the dark side. Calculha stayed pure. He declared himself to pure white magic. Perhaps the best part of this guy is his ability to see the past, present, and future. DC Comics Presents issue 75 is a trip. A lot of time travel goodness in those old pages. You gotta go check it out. Number 3, John Fox. Making his first appearance in Flash Special Issue 1, John Fox resided comfortably in the year 2645. He was a historian for the National Academy of Science in Central City, and his life changed when the radioactive villain Manfred Moda showed up. He was causing destruction, the world was in chaos because of this guy, so the Academy decided, you know what, let's just send John back in time because we're in the future and we can do that. Hey, what's up? And then John can grab a Flash or two, come back, and then all of them can help us take down Moda. Now, the plan, of course, didn't work because it's easier said than done. He couldn't get any Flashes to come back to the future with him, but during this cosmic commute, John himself got super speed, which is almost a better alternative, if you ask me. He quickly suited up and took down Moda himself. Quite impressive. This sounds like a dream scenario, but John lost his job when speed robots came into the picture. Damn robots taking our jobs, even in 2645. This is relentless. Number 2, Batman. On our last list of futuristic heroes, we mentioned Thomas Wayne, the Batman of the Flashpoint universe, who is a little dark to say the least. So for this list, we had to mention the time that Batman was sent back in time through Darkseid's Omega Beams. It's super fun and also really stressful. This happens during the 6-parter written by Grant Morrison, Final Crisis. Now, it appears Bruce is dead during the story, but later on it's revealed in Return of Bruce Wayne that he just took a trip through time. He was sent back to multiple eras. I'm talking the dawn of history. Caveman Bruce Wayne, and then he jumps further in time and there's witches running around. It's really fun to see Bruce use his intellect to get out of these specific eras. That's the whole fun of it. Also, if you've ever wanted to see Batman as the historical pirate Blackbeard, well, now's your chance. Go check it out. And finally, number 1, Green Lantern. Green Lantern power rings are quite impressive. It can be used as a universal translator, it allows its user to communicate telepathically, and in Superman Man of Tomorrow issue 13, Superman goes nuts, so Kyle Rayner created kryptonite with the ring. It's pretty impressive. But you also may forget that the ring allows for one to time travel. Hal Jordan traveled to the 70th century once. He was brought into the far future to take down an evil government, but in doing so, the ring required enormous amounts of will and energy. So in turn, he ended up losing his memories and started started going by the alias Paul Manning. So there was a point where Green Lantern was a superhero in 2 timelines, and that's why he's number 1. Guys, those were some futuristic DC heroes, just 10 out of many. We sure hope you liked this list. I know I did making it, but before you go, make sure to comment down below if a part 2 is in your desires. I've been your host, Taylor McWaters, and we'll see you next time on Top 10 Nerd. Later, skaters.